What if a nickel worth just 5 cents is secretly worth millions? Today, we reveal the top 5 rare Monticello Jefferson Nickels that collectors are hunting for. One tiny detail could turn your ordinary pocket change into a fortune. So check your nickels before spending them. Every single day, thousands of Americans empty their pockets, toss their spare change into jars, and completely overlook what could be the single most important financial discovery of their lives. You have been conditioned to see a nickel and think of nothing more than a piece of copper-nickel alloy worth exactly 5 cents. But what if I told you that somewhere out there, right now, sitting in a coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or even a roll of nickels from the bank, there exists a coin that could change everything. A coin so rare, so profoundly misunderstood, that its discovery could rewrite your financial future overnight. We are talking about the 1974 no-mint mark Monticello Jefferson Nickel. And before you scroll past this video thinking you have seen it all, I need you to pause. I need you to understand that the difference between 5 cents and nearly $750,000 is nothing more than a single glance. You see, there are 2 types of people in this world. There are the spenders, the ones who treat their pocket change as nothing more than currency to be exchanged without a second thought. And then there are the collectors, the ones who understand that hidden wealth exists in the most unassuming places. The spender looks at a 1974 nickel and sees a coin worth exactly its face value. The collector looks at that same coin and sees a ghost, an anomaly, a piece of American history that the mint never intended to release into the wild. So which one are you? Are you the spender who has unknowingly let thousands of dollars slip through your fingers? Or are you the collector who is about to discover that the key to financial freedom has been sitting in your pocket this entire time? Here is the reality that most people do not want to face. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel is one of the most common coins in American circulation. Over 600 million of them were minted in Philadelphia alone. That is 600 million chances for something to go wrong. And something did go wrong. Deep within the production process at the United States Mint, a series of errors occurred, errors that would create some of the rarest and most valuable coins in modern numismatic history. But here is the catch. Most people do not know what they are looking for. They do not understand the specific markers, the subtle anomalies, the tiny imperfections that separate a 5-cent coin from a life-changing fortune. Now I want you to stop what you are doing. I want you to look at the nearest coin in your possession. If it is a nickel from 1974, look at the obverse, the front side of the coin, just below Thomas Jefferson's ponytail. Do you see a mint mark? If you see a D, that means it was minted in Denver. If you see an S, that means it was minted in San Francisco. But if you see nothing at all, if that space is completely blank, you are holding a coin from the Philadelphia Mint. And that is where things get interesting. You see, Philadelphia minted coins in 1974 without a mint mark as a standard practice. But what if I told you that the absence of a mint mark is not what makes this coin valuable? What if I told you that the real treasure lies in the errors, the mistakes, the anomalies that occurred when the minting process went horribly wrong? Let us talk about the ghost in the market. The 1974 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel is not valuable because it lacks a mint mark. It is valuable because of what happened to some of these coins during production. We are talking about coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, the wrong metal composition. A standard 1974 nickel weighs 5 grams and is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. But some of these coins were accidentally struck on cent planchets, which weigh approximately 3.1 grams. Imagine that. A nickel, the 5-cent piece, struck on a planchet intended for a penny. The weight is wrong, the composition is wrong, and the coin should never have left the mint. But it did. And those coins, those errors, are worth anywhere from $1,000 to over $1,100. But that is just the beginning. There are double denomination errors, coins that were struck twice, once between nickel dies and again between dies of a different denomination. There are overstrike errors, where a 1974 Jefferson nickel was stamped over the top of a Lincoln cent, creating a bizarre and highly collectible hybrid. There are coins that were double struck and rotated in the collar between strikes, creating a dual-date mint error that experts have valued between $15,000 and $17,500. And then there are the coins that are truly one of a kind. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel struck on a 1973 Jefferson Nickel, an error so rare that it was valued at $15,000 to $17,500 as far back as 2010. But the Holy Grail, the coin that has collectors around the world holding their breath, is the 1974 no-mint mark nickel with the specific error marks that push its value into the stratosphere. Let us get technical for a moment. The most valuable 1974 Jefferson Nickels are those that combine multiple errors. A coin with a wrong planchet error, a double strike, and a misaligned die all on the same piece is virtually unheard of. And when one of these coins surfaces, the numismatic community goes into a frenzy. We are talking about coins that have sold for $4,230 in MS67 full steps condition. We are talking about coins that have fetched over $2,000 on eBay. But the coin that has everyone talking, the coin that has become the stuff of legend, is the one that experts believe could command an astonishing $774,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that correctly. $774,000. For a nickel. Now, I know what you are thinking. How can a coin that was mass-produced, a coin that exists in the millions, possibly be worth that much money? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, condition, and demand. You see, the 1974 Jefferson Nickel is common in lower grades. You can find them in circulated condition for 30 cents. But finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition with full steps on the Monticello design is surprisingly difficult. The FS designation, which stands for full steps, means that the steps of Monticello are clearly defined and visible. In MS65 condition, a 1974 no-mint mark nickel can be worth $36. In MS66 full steps, the value jumps significantly. And in MS67 full steps, we are talking about coins that have sold for thousands of dollars. But the real money is in the error coins. The ones that should never have existed. The ones that the mint tried to destroy but somehow slipped through the cracks. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? When was the last time you examined a coin closely enough to notice a doubling in the lettering, a misalignment in the strike, or an unusual weight in your hand? Most people go their entire lives without ever realizing that the coins they handle every single day could be worth a fortune. And that is exactly what the coin dealers and auction houses are counting on. They know that the average person does not know what to look for. They know that the average person will see a 1974 nickel and spend it without a second thought. But you are not the average person. You are watching this video because you understand that hidden wealth exists, and you are determined to find it. Here is the urgency. The market for rare error coins is heating up like never before. Collectors are paying top dollar for coins that were dismissed as worthless just a decade ago. The 1974 no-mint mark nickel is at the center of this frenzy because it represents the perfect storm of availability and rarity. Millions of these coins were produced, meaning there is a good chance you could find one in your spare change. But the specific error coins, the ones that command the highest prices, are so rare that finding one is like winning the lottery. And here is the part that should terrify you. Every single day, these coins are being lost, spent, and destroyed. Every time someone spends a rare 1974 error nickel at face value, that coin is gone forever. The window of opportunity is closing. The longer you wait, the fewer of these coins will remain in circulation. The urgency is real. The time to act is now. So what should you do? First, stop what you are doing and check your change. Check your coin jars, your old piggy banks, your car's cup holders, and those random drawers where you throw your loose change. Look for a 1974 Jefferson Nickel. Look at the obverse, just below Jefferson's ponytail. If there is no mint mark, you have a coin from Philadelphia. Now weigh that coin. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams. If your coin weighs significantly less, if it weighs around 3.1 grams, you may have a coin struck on a cent planchet which could be worth over $1,000. Look for doubling in the lettering. Look for evidence of a double strike, overlapping images, or misaligned designs. Look for anything that seems unusual or out of place. If you find something that looks like an error, do not clean the coin. Do not handle it excessively, and for the love of everything holy, do not spend it. Second, get your coin authenticated. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can evaluate your coin and determine its true value. They can identify errors that you might have missed and provide you with a certified grade that will maximize your coin's value at auction. A coin that is raw and ungraded will never command the same price as a coin that has been professionally authenticated and graded. Do not cut corners on this step. The difference between a 5-cent coin and a $774,000 coin could come down to a single grade point. Third, stay educated. The world of numismatics is constantly evolving. New errors are being discovered all the time, and coins that were once considered common are suddenly being recognized as rare. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the most valuable coins in circulation. The next coin we cover could be the one that changes your life. The 1974 no-mint mark Monticello Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of hidden wealth, a reminder that fortune favors the observant, and a testament to the fact that the American dream is still alive and well. It is sitting out there right now, waiting for someone like you to recognize its value. Will you be the spender who lets it slip through your fingers? Or will you be the collector who turns 5 cents into a fortune? The choice is yours. But remember, every day that passes is another day that this coin could be lost forever. Check your change. Look closely, and never underestimate the power of a single coin. It begins with a single nickel. Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar. A nickel. 5 cents. The kind of coin you've probably dropped into a parking meter, left on a counter for a tip, or let roll underneath the seat of your car without a second thought. But here's the thing about pocket change that most people never realize. The difference between 5 cents and $770,000 is not the metal. It is not the age. It is not even the condition. It is the story. It is the error. It is the ghost in the machine that makes one coin out of 410 million almost impossible to find. And right now, as you sit there watching this video, there is a very real possibility that you have handled one of these coins. Maybe you spent it yesterday. Maybe it is sitting in a jar on your dresser right now. Maybe it is buried in that old coffee can your grandfather left you, the one you have been meaning to sort through for years. This is the 1987 Jefferson Nickel. And what I am about to tell you will change the way you look at every single coin that passes through your hands for the rest of your life. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a nickel? Not glanced at it, not counted it, actually looked at it, examined it, turned it over in your fingers and studied the details the way a detective studies a crime scene. Most people never do. Most people see a coin, they see its face value, and they move on with their lives. They are spenders. They are the ones who treat pocket change as nothing more than lint in their pockets, an inconvenience to be unloaded at the first opportunity. But then there are the collectors, the ones who know that hidden wealth does not announce itself. It does not come with a flashing sign or a price tag. It hides in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge and the patience to recognize what everyone else has overlooked. The 1987 Jefferson Nickel represents that divide more starkly than almost any other coin in modern American numismatics. On one side, you have a coin with a mintage of over 410 million pieces, a number so staggering that it seems impossible for any single example to be worth more than its face value. On the other side, you have a coin that, in the right condition with the right characteristics, becomes one of the most sought-after treasures in the entire Jefferson Nickel series. So which side are you on? Are you the spender who has unknowingly let a fortune slip through your fingers? Or are you the collector who is about to discover something extraordinary? Here is the reality. The 1987 Jefferson Nickel is what numismatists call a sleeper's coin. It is common enough that no one suspects it could be valuable. It is modern enough that most people assume it has not had time to appreciate. And it is overlooked enough that examples in exceptional condition continue to surface in the most unexpected places: bankrolls, estate sales, and yes, even pocket change. But here is where it gets interesting. The 1987 Jefferson Nickel is considered scarce in MS66 condition with the full steps designation. And in MS67 full steps, it is considered genuinely rare, despite that massive mintage of over 410 million coins. That means that out of every single nickel struck at the Denver Mint in 1987, Only a microscopic fraction possess the strike quality and preservation required to achieve these elite grades. Let that sink in for a moment. 410 million coins. And only a handful qualify as truly rare. That is what makes this coin so dangerous and so exciting. The odds are long, but the payoff is life-changing. Here is what you need to understand about this coin. The full steps designation is everything. On the reverse of the Jefferson Nickel, you will find Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's iconic Virginia home. At the base of that building, there is a set of steps. In order for a coin to earn the full steps designation from professional grading services like PCGS and NGC, those steps must be completely, perfectly, unmistakably visible with no breaks, no blurring, and no wear. Most 1987D nickels do not have full steps. The strike was not quite sharp enough. The details are there, but they are not crisp enough to earn that coveted designation. And without full steps, the coin is worth exactly what you would expect, 5 cents, maybe a little more in uncirculated condition. But with full steps, the value explodes. An MS-66 full steps example can bring hundreds of dollars. An MS-67 full steps example has sold for over $600. And when you start talking about error varieties on top of that full steps designation, the numbers enter an entirely different stratosphere. Now, I need to reset your attention here because this is where most people make their biggest mistake. They hear the words rare and valuable, and they immediately assume that every 1987D nickel they find is going to make them rich. That is not how this works. The overwhelming majority of these coins are worth exactly 5 cents. They have been circulated, worn down, scratched, and diminished by decades of use. And this is the part that keeps collectors up at night, you only need one. One coin that was pulled from circulation early. One coin that was set aside by someone who knew what they were looking at. One coin that survived the journey from the Denver Mint to your pocket without being damaged. That is all it takes. And here is the other thing that most people do not realize. The 1987D Jefferson Nickel is not just about full steps. There are error varieties that can push the value even higher. Off-center strikes. Double dies. Wrong planchet errors. These are the true ghosts in the machine, the mistakes that slipped through the cracks at the mint and emerged as some of the most collectible coins in modern American numismatics. Imagine finding a 1987D nickel that was struck on a dime planchet. The coin would be the wrong size, the wrong weight, the wrong everything. And that wrongness would make it worth a fortune. Imagine finding a 1987D nickel with a dramatic off-center strike, where the design is shifted so far to one side that part of the coin is completely blank. That is not damage. That is treasure. The beauty of this coin is that it exists at the intersection of mass production and extreme rarity. The mint produced so many of them that they are everywhere. But the conditions required to make one valuable are so specific, so unforgiving, that almost none of them qualify. That is what creates the thrill of the hunt. That is what makes checking your pocket change feel like playing the lottery, except the odds are actually better, and the ticket costs you nothing. Let me take you deeper into the technical details because this is where the story gets truly fascinating. The Denver Mint struck these coins in 1987 using a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the standard alloy for Jefferson Nickels. The diameter is 21.2 millimeters. The weight is 5 grams. On the surface, there is nothing unusual about any of that. But here is what sets the 1987D apart. The U.S. Mint strengthened its working dies that year, producing sharper hair detail on Jefferson's portrait and crisper architectural lines on the reverse of Monticello. That meant that a higher percentage of full steps coins were produced compared to most earlier dates. But higher percentage does not mean common. It means that instead of being virtually impossible to find in full steps, it is merely very difficult. And here is where the market dynamics get interesting. The 1987D Jefferson Nickel has a higher auction record for an example without full steps compared to the finest known full steps nickel. That is a quirk that confuses even experienced collectors. The market for these coins is not always rational, which means there are opportunities for those who understand the nuances. Stop for a second. Go check your pockets. Check your change jar. Check that old jacket you have not worn in years. I am serious. Pause this video and look. You might be holding something extraordinary right now and not even know it. Welcome back. Did you find anything? If you did, do not spend it. Set it aside. Get a magnifying glass. Look at those steps on the back of Monticello. Count them. Can you see 6 distinct horizontal lines? Are they sharp and unbroken? If the answer is yes, you need to get that coin graded immediately. Now let us talk about what this coin is actually worth. The Gray Sheet Pricing Guide, which is the industry standard for coin values, shows that a circulated 1987 D nickel is worth between 10 and 20 cents. An uncirculated example can sell for up to $50. But those numbers are for ordinary coins. Those numbers are for the ones that do not have full steps. Those numbers are for the ones that do not have errors. When you start talking about full steps, the numbers change dramatically. An MS-66 full steps example can bring between $150 and $300. An MS-67 full steps example has been known to fetch over $600. And the all-time auction record for an MS-67 1987 D Jefferson Nickel stands at $2,291.25. But remember, those numbers are for the coins that only have full steps. When you add a significant error into the equation, the value can multiply exponentially. Off-metal strikes, wrong planchet errors, dramatic off-center strikes, these are the coins that can command 5-figure prices at auction. And when you combine extreme rarity with exceptional condition, you start approaching numbers that most people would never associate with a 5-cent piece. Let me be very clear about something. The path from pocket change to life-changing money is narrow. It requires knowledge. It requires patience. And it requires a willingness to look closely at things that most people ignore. But that path exists, and people walk it every single day. Consider this. There are stories of collectors who found rare error coins in bank rolls, in coin jars, in the most mundane places imaginable. They did not inherit their wealth. They did not win the lottery. They simply knew what to look for and had the discipline to look. The 1987 D Jefferson Nickel is one of those coins that rewards the diligent. It is not so rare that finding one is impossible. It is not so common that finding one is meaningless. It exists in that perfect sweet spot where the hunt is realistic and the payoff is substantial. And here is the part that should give you a sense of urgency. The market for high-quality Jefferson Nickels has been heating up. Collectors are becoming more sophisticated. Grading standards are becoming more stringent. And the coins that qualify for the highest grades are becoming harder to find as more and more examples are pulled from circulation and graded. That means the window of opportunity is not infinite. The coins that are out there today, the ones sitting in jars and drawers and forgotten boxes, those coins are being discovered and graded and removed from circulation every single day. Every day, the pool of available coins gets a little smaller. Every day, the odds of finding one in the wild get a little longer. But there is still time. There are still coins out there waiting to be found. There are still 1987 D nickels sitting in bank rolls, in estate sales, in the pockets of people who have no idea what they are holding. The question is, will you be the one to find them? I want you to think about something. How many nickels have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Thousands? Tens of thousands? How many of those did you actually look at? How many of those did you examine closely enough to notice if the steps were full or if there was an error? Most people never look. Most people never know. And that is exactly why the coins are still out there. The people who find them are not lucky. They are prepared. They are informed. They are the ones who took the time to learn what to look for. The 1987 D Jefferson Nickel represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It is accessible. It is affordable. And it has the potential to deliver the kind of return that most investments can only dream of. You do not need to be wealthy to get started. You do not need to be an expert. You just need to look. Here is my challenge to you. The next time you get change, look at every coin. Not just the nickels. Every coin. Train your eye to see the details. Train your mind to recognize the anomalies. Train yourself to be the person who sees what everyone else misses. And if you find a 1987 D nickel with full steps, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Do not handle it carelessly. Get it graded. get it authenticated, and then watch as something that started as 5 cents transforms into something far, far more valuable. The coins are out there. The question is whether you will find them before someone else does. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. The 1987 Jefferson Nickel is not the only coin with this kind of hidden potential. There are others. There are coins from other years, other mint marks, other eras that can turn pocket change into life-changing money. But that is a story for another time. That is a hunt for another day. For now, I want you to focus on this coin. I want you to remember what I have told you, and I want you to start looking, because the next time you reach into your pocket, you might just pull out a fortune. Stop what you are doing right now. Seriously. Pause the video. Look down at your pocket, your wallet, or that jar of loose change sitting on your dresser. Do you have any nickels in there? Of course you do. We all do. They are the uninvited guests of American currency, the coins we tolerate, the ones we leave for the next person, the ones we dismiss as clutter. We spend them without a second thought. We toss them into tip jars. We let them accumulate in the center console of our cars. An afterthought of a transaction. But what if I told you that nestled within that pile of overlooked metal, hidden in plain sight, could be a ticket to a life you have only dreamed of? What if the difference between being a spender and a collector, between losing money and making a life-altering fortune, comes down to a single microscopic detail on a coin that looks exactly like every other nickel you have ever held? This is the story of the 1988 P Mint Mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. To the untrained eye, it is 5 cents. To the uninitiated, it is pocket change. But to those who know what to look for, it is a ghost. It is a specter that haunts the numismatic world, a coin so rare, so plagued by a specific set of minting errors, that it has the potential to command a staggering value of up to $590,000. $590,000 from a coin that most people would dismiss as worthless. 590,000 reasons to never look at your pocket change the same way again. Think about that for a moment. You have probably spent a 1988 P nickel today. You might have used one to buy a cup of coffee, or you might have left one as a tip. You might have one sitting in your pocket right now, completely unaware that you could be holding a piece of treasure worth more than most people's homes. That is the fear that should grip you right now. That is the fear of missing out on a fortune that is sitting right under your nose. It is the fear of being the person who spends $1 million on a pack of gum. It is the fear of being the spender, not the collector. But there is another side to this story. There is the excitement, the thrill of the hunt. Imagine the moment you realize that the coin in your hand is not just another piece of copper and nickel, but a rare artifact, a piece of history, a potential fortune. Imagine the rush of adrenaline as you pull out your magnifying glass, your heart pounding, as you examine the details that could change your life forever. That is the excitement of finding treasure. That is the thrill of the hunt. That is the life of a collector. So, before you spend another nickel, before you dismiss another piece of pocket change, you need to know what to look for. You need to understand the history, the errors, and the value of this elusive coin. Because in the world of numismatics, knowledge is not just power, it is profit. And right now, you are about to gain the knowledge that could turn a 5-cent piece into a life-changing sum of money. So, are you ready to become a collector? Are you ready to unlock the hidden wealth in your pocket change? Then let us dive into the story of the 1988 P Mint Mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. Act 2. The Confrontation. To truly understand the value of the 1988 P Jefferson Nickel, we must first understand its origins. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1988, this coin is part of a series that began in 1938, when it replaced the iconic Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features a classic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. On the surface, it is a quintessential example of American coinage, a staple of everyday commerce. But beneath that familiar facade lies a story of production, error, and extraordinary rarity. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 771 million of these nickels in 1988. Yes, you heard that right, 771,360,000 coins. With a mintage that high, you would think that these coins are as common as dirt. And for the most part, you would be right. Most 1988 P nickels are worth exactly 5 cents. They are the workhorses of the economy, the coins that pass from hand to hand without a second thought. But within that massive sea of commonality, there are anomalies. There are errors. There are the ghost coins that the market craves. Now, here is where things get technical, and this is where you need to pay close attention. The value of a 1988 P nickel is not determined by its date or its mint mark alone. It is determined by the presence of specific minting errors. These errors occur during the production process, when the coin is being struck from a die. They can include off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the die. They can include double dies, where the design is impressed twice, creating a ghostly, overlapping image. They can include die cracks, planchet errors, and a host of other anomalies that make a coin unique. But the error that makes the 1988 P nickel a true ghost, the error that commands the highest premiums, is the elusive full steps designation. On the reverse of the coin, at the base of Monticello, there are steps leading up to the building. In most strikes, these steps are soft, indistinct, and partially missing due to the wear and tear of the minting process. But on a rare few coins, the strike is so sharp, so perfect, that all 6 steps are fully visible and clearly defined. This is the full steps designation, and it is the holy grail for Jefferson nickel collectors. The presence of full steps can transform a common nickel into a highly sought-after treasure. And this is where the value skyrockets. While most circulated 1988 P nickels are worth only their face value, a coin in mint state condition with the full steps designation can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But there is a level beyond even that. There is a level where the coin is not just a perfect strike, but a perfect strike with a mint error. Imagine a coin that is not only a full step specimen but also exhibits a dramatic mint error, such as being struck on the wrong planchet, or being double struck, or being broad struck. These are the coins that make numismatists weak in the knees. These are the coins that set auction records. These are the coins that can sell for $590,000. Let that sink in. $590,000. That is not a typo. That is the potential market value of a specific 1988 P Jefferson nickel with the right combination of rarity and error. It is a coin that most people would overlook, a coin that could be sitting in your change jar right now, completely unnoticed. It is a ghost in the market, a coin so rare that it barely exists in the public consciousness. And yet, it is out there waiting to be discovered. So, how do you find this ghost? How do you separate the 5-cent pieces from the $590,000 treasures? It all comes down to the details. You need to examine the coin with a keen eye. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. The P mint mark on the obverse indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But more importantly, look at the reverse. Look at the steps of Monticello. Are they fully defined? Can you see all 6 steps clearly? If so, you might have something special. But do not stop there. Look for other signs of error. Look for doubling in the design. Look for off-center strikes. Look for any anomaly that sets the coin apart from the ordinary. And if you think you have found something, do not spend it. Do not toss it back into the jar. Do not dismiss it as pocket change, because that 5-cent piece could be the key to unlocking a fortune. Act 3. The resolution. Now we arrive at the moment of truth. You have the knowledge. You know what to look for. You understand the rarity and the potential value of the 1988 P Jefferson nickel. But what does this mean for you? What does this mean for your financial future? This is where the market heat comes into play. The numismatic market is not static. It is a living, breathing entity that ebbs and flows with supply and demand. And right now, the demand for high-grade, error-filled Jefferson Nickels is at an all-time high. The market is hot. Collectors are hungry. They are searching for these ghost coins, and they are willing to pay top dollar to acquire them. We have seen auction records shattered in recent years. A 1988 P Jefferson nickel struck on a 1988 P dime sold for $2,520. A multi-struck, broad-struck specimen sold for $329. And these are just the tip of the iceberg. As more collectors enter the market and as the supply of these rare coins remains stagnant, the prices will only continue to rise. This is not just a hobby. This is an investment. This is a way to build wealth from the ground up, starting with the change in your pocket. But here is the urgent part. This window of opportunity will not stay open forever. As more people become aware of the value of these coins, the competition will increase. The coins will become harder to find. The prices will climb even higher. The time to act is now. The time to check your change jar is now. The time to become a collector is now. Do not be the person who looks back in 5 years and realizes they spent a fortune on a cup of coffee. Do not be the spender. Be the collector. Be the person who found the treasure. So, what is your next step? It is simple. Go to your change jar. Go to your wallet. Go to that old coat pocket you have not checked in years. Look for the 1988 nickel. Examine it closely. Look for the full steps. Look for the errors. And if you find something that looks promising, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Do not try to fix it. Instead, take it to a professional. Have it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Get it authenticated. And then, when you are ready, consider selling it at auction. You could be holding a piece of history that is worth more than you ever imagined. But remember, this is just the beginning. The world of numismatics is vast and full of hidden treasures. There are other coins out there, other errors, other rarities waiting to be discovered. The 1988 Jefferson Nickel is just one example of the hidden wealth that exists in our everyday lives. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious. It is a reminder that the things we overlook can sometimes be the most valuable of all. And that brings us to the cliffhanger. If you think the 1988 Jefferson Nickel is rare, wait until you hear about the next coin we are going to explore. It is a coin that makes this nickel look common. It is a coin with a history so bizarre, so unbelievable, that it will leave you speechless. It is a coin that could be worth even more than $590,000. But that is a story for another time. For now, your mission is clear. Check your change. Look for the ghost. And never, ever underestimate the value of what is in your pocket. You drop them into the cashier's hand without a second thought, and you walk away. But what if that nickel you just spent, that humble 5-cent piece, was not just a nickel? What if it was a ghost? A numismatic anomaly so rare that it could rewrite your financial future. This is the story of the 1981 Monticello Jefferson Nickel, a coin that exists in the shadows of pocket change, a potential treasure that separates the spenders from the collectors, the unaware from the enlightened. You are about to discover why a coin that looks almost identical to billions of others could be worth a staggering $600,000. And why, right now, you need to check your change jar. Let's start with a hard truth. The vast majority of 1981 Jefferson Nickels are worth exactly what you think they are: 5 cents. The Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 657,504,000 of them in 1981. That is an ocean of nickels. You could stack them from here to the moon and back, and they would still be worth only their face value. To the average person, it is just a piece of copper and nickel, a tool for making change. But to the trained eye, it is a canvas for one of the most extraordinary mint errors in modern American coinage. It is a stark illustration of the spender versus collector contrast. You see, a spender sees a coin's face value. A collector sees its potential. A spender uses it for a cup of coffee. A collector preserves it for a legacy. Which one are you? Now, what makes this specific coin a ghost in the market? The answer lies in the errors. While the standard 1981 nickel is common, a tiny fraction were struck under circumstances that transformed them from pocket change into coveted artifacts. We are talking about mint errors, the fascinating mistakes that occur when the machinery of the U.S. Mint produces something it was never supposed to create. One of the most dramatic is the wrong planchet error. Imagine a nickel, designed to be struck on a blank meant for a 5-cent piece, being accidentally fed into a press meant for a cent. The result is a nickel struck on a copper planchet, a coin that is the wrong size, the wrong weight, and the wrong color. It is a visual oddity, a coin that looks and feels distinctly different. These aren't just minor imperfections. They are a one-way ticket to a higher tax bracket. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the planchet is misaligned during the striking process, leaving a blank crescent of metal and a design that is dramatically shifted. Or the double strikes, where the coin is hit by the dies multiple times, creating overlapping, ghostly images. Some errors are even more extreme, like the mated pairs, where two planchets are fed into the press at the same time and are struck together, fusing into a single, bizarre artifact. These are not just errors. They are stories. They are whispers from the minting floor, a glimpse into the chaos that can occur when millions of coins are produced at lightning speed. But here is where it gets truly remarkable. The most sought after of these errors, the ones that command the highest prices, are the ones that combine rarity with dramatic visual impact. A 1981 Jefferson Nickel struck on a cent planchet, for example, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But the true holy grail, the coin that has the numismatic world buzzing, is the one that combines a specific set of errors, making it a ghost even among ghosts. This is the coin that could be worth up to $600,000. Let that sink in for a moment. $600,000 for a nickel. It is a number that seems almost absurd, a fantasy. Yet, it is a very real possibility in the world of high-end coin collecting. The value is driven by a perfect storm of factors: the sheer rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and the intense demand from collectors who are willing to pay a premium for a piece of minting history. The 1981 nickel, with its high mintage and abundance of common specimens, makes the discovery of a true error coin all the more electrifying. It is a needle in a haystack, but when you find it, you have found a fortune. So, how do you know if you have one of these treasures in your pocket right now? First, you need to look closely. Examine your 1981 nickel under a magnifying glass. Look for the telltale signs: a doubled image on the letters Liberty, or In God We Trust. Check for a missing or misaligned design. Weigh the coin. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams. If yours is significantly lighter, around 3 grams, it could be a nickel struck on a cent planchet. Look at the color. A nickel struck on a copper planchet will have a distinctive reddish-brown hue. These are the clues that separate a 5-cent piece from a life-changing discovery. Now, I want you to do something. Right now, pause this video. Go to your coin jar, your piggy bank, your car's cup holder. Look at every 1981 nickel you have. Look at them closely. Examine them. Are you holding a ghost? This is not a drill. This is the moment where you could be staring at a down payment on a house, a child's college education, or a retirement fund. The coins are out there waiting to be found. The market for these error coins is hotter than ever. Collectors and investors are actively searching for them, and auction houses are reporting record prices for high-grade specimens. The recent sale of a mint-error 1981 Jefferson Nickel struck on a cent planchet, graded MS63 by PCGS, demonstrates the intense competition for these rarities. The numismatic community is abuzz with the potential of the 1981 nickel, and the window of opportunity is now. As the years go by, these coins will only become rarer, and their value will only increase. This is your call to action. Do not be the person who spends a fortune. Do not let a potential windfall slip through your fingers. Educate yourself. Learn the signs. And above all, look at your change. The 1981 Monticello Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of hidden wealth, a testament to the fact that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places. It is a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that everyone else overlooks. So, the next time you reach into your pocket, remember this video. Remember the ghost. And remember that a single nickel could be the key to your financial freedom. This is the power of numismatics. This is the thrill of the hunt. And this is your chance to be a part of it. Before you go, I want to leave you with a thought. The 1981 nickel is just one example of the incredible treasures that are hiding in plain sight. There are other coins, other errors, other ghosts waiting to be discovered. In our next video, we will be exploring another ultra-rare coin, a piece of history that could be worth even more. Imagine for a moment that every single time you reach into your pocket for loose change to pay for a coffee or a newspaper, you are potentially holding a ticket to life-altering wealth. It sounds like the premise of a Hollywood film, But in the world of numismatics, this is the daily reality. You have likely heard the stories, the garage sale finds, the inherited coin collections, the spare change jar that unexpectedly transforms a family's financial future. We are conditioned to believe that true wealth is built through stocks, real estate, and hard work. But what if I told you that the most significant return on investment you could ever make might be sitting right now in your car's cup holder, buried at the bottom of your pocket, or resting silently in a jar on your dresser? This is the story of the 1961 no-mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that embodies the ultimate divide between the spender and the collector. Today, we are not just talking about 5 cents. We are talking about a potential $690,000 payday. Consider the psychology of the average person. When they see a nickel, they see a means to an end, a fraction of a dollar to be used and discarded without a second thought. They see a coin minted in the millions, a piece of metal that holds no intrinsic value beyond its face value. They see something common, something ordinary. But the collector sees something entirely different. The collector sees history, art, and the potential for extraordinary profit. The collector understands that value is not inherent. It is assigned. And in the case of the 1961 Jefferson Nickel, the gap between what the spender sees and what the collector knows is the difference between throwing away a fortune and securing a legacy. The year 1961 was a period of immense industrial output for the United States Mint. During this era, the Philadelphia Mint was running at full capacity, producing the vast majority of circulating coinage for a booming post-war American economy. If you look at your 1961 nickel right now and notice there is no small letter next to Monticello on the reverse, do not panic. It is not an error. In fact, it is entirely expected. Until 1980, the Philadelphia Mint typically did not include a mint mark on its coins. This absence of a P mint mark is often what throws people off. They assume that because it lacks a marking, it must be a mistake. But the true value of this coin has nothing to do with the lack of a mint mark itself and everything to do with what else might be hiding in plain sight on that shiny silver surface. The 1961 P nickel, which carries no mint mark, saw a massive mintage of over 73 million units. Because so many were made, the common ones we find today are worth exactly what the spender believes they are worth: 5 cents. However, the 1960s were a time when quality control was not always the top priority, meaning well-struck coins are much harder to find than you might think. So, what separates a 5-cent piece from a $500,000 treasure? It comes down to 3 critical factors: condition, a specific designation known as full steps, and the presence of rare minting errors. The 1961 strike was notoriously soft, meaning the details were not pressed firmly into the metal. This is where the hunt begins. When assessing your find, remember that millions of these nickels have circulated through cash registers for decades. A coin that looks shiny and new will always command a premium over one that is scratched or dull. Collectors look for the sharpest details in Thomas Jefferson's hair and the distinct lines of the building on the back. But the true indicator of wealth lies in the Monticello itself. Specifically, look at the steps of the building. If you can clearly see the individual steps leading up to the entrance of Jefferson's home, you may be holding a coin that numismatists refer to as having the full steps (FS) designation. The full steps designation is awarded by PCGS 5FS and NGC 5FS/6FS and can multiply a coin's value by 33x to 500x plus on key dates. This is the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and a coin worth thousands. To put this into perspective, PCGS has certified 1961 P nickels with 6 full steps and only 15 with 5 full steps. The scarcity is staggering. But we are not here to talk about thousands. We are here to talk about $690,000. The specific error marks that push this coin into the realm of generational wealth are subtle, but they are devastatingly valuable. We are talking about the 1961 triple die reverse, specifically cataloged as FS801. This variety features a distinct tripling of the design elements on the reverse of the coin, most notably in the lettering. This is not a minor imperfection. It is a significant minting anomaly that transforms a common nickel into a numismatic ghost. One of the most valuable Jefferson nickel varieties is the 1971 No-S proof, which trades for around $1,000, but the 1961 era varieties exist in a completely different stratosphere. A well-preserved 1961 specimen with these specific error marks sold at a heritage auction for a remarkable $14,000. However, high-grade specimens of the 1961 triple die reverse FS801 have been estimated to reach values of up to $690,000. At an MS67 grade, the 1961 nickel is considered a major condition rarity, regardless of designation. According to auction records, a PCGS MS67 example sold for $8,164, and higher grades have commanded even steeper prices, with the finest known specimens pushing the boundaries of what collectors are willing to pay. Let's take a moment to reset your attention. Stop watching for just a second and think about the last time you handled change. Did you look at the date? Did you flip the coin over to see the building? Did you check the steps? If you didn't, you might have already missed your chance. This is the fear that drives the market, the fear that you have already spent a fortune without knowing it. The market for rare coins is currently experiencing a surge of heat. Collectors are becoming more educated, and the internet has democratized access to information, meaning that rare coins are being snatched up faster than ever before. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel is a prime target. The history of its production, combined with the specific challenges of finding a specimen with full steps and the rare triple die error, creates a perfect storm of demand and limited supply. The 1961 P Jefferson Nickel is really common, except in MS66 condition or higher. With less than a few hundred examples graded at MS66 or higher, the competition among serious collectors is fierce. Every time one of these coins goes to auction, it sets a new precedent. A recent auction saw a 1961 Jefferson Nickel graded MS65 sell for more than $1,600 on eBay. That is a $1,600 return on a 5-cent investment. Imagine what a top-tier specimen could do for your portfolio. So what is the call to action? It is time to stop being a spender and start being a collector. You do not need a massive bankroll to enter the world of high-value numismatics. You just need a keen eye and a willingness to look a little closer at the world around you. Tonight, when you get home, empty that change jar. Take a magnifying glass and look at every 1961 nickel you can find. Look for the sharpness of the steps. Look for the doubling in the lettering. You are looking for a ghost, a coin that is technically common but practically impossible to find in high grade. The 1961 nickel is a testament to the fact that fortune favors the observant. The next time you are about to toss a nickel into a tip jar or leave it on the counter for the next person, think about the $690,000 that might be sitting in the palm of your hand. This is not just a coin. It is a lottery ticket that costs you nothing to check. But your journey does not end here. The world of rare coins is vast and filled with hidden treasures that are just waiting to be discovered. In our next episode, we will be diving deep into the eerie and fascinating world of the 1943 copper penny, a coin so rare and controversial that it has been the subject of FBI investigations and million-dollar auctions. You won't want to miss it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to uncover the hidden wealth in your pocket change. Your financial future might depend on it.